Probably in about 5 minutes, we'll be live, talk about what we have for the day, get prepared, have some fun, and we'll get it going, guys. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all doing today? Welcome back and happy, we're going to call it Money Thursday, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to lock in some profits, and we are going to make some exceptional trades today. We're going to lock in some profits and watch those profits follow. But what's up? What's going on, traders? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Hope you guys had a wonderful Wednesday night. I hope you guys are fired up, ready to rock and roll for an amazing Money Thursday. I'm excited to get rocking and rolling with you guys. I'm excited to identify these great opportunities, and I'm excited to see these profits roll on in. So hit me with a big old good morning. What's up, J Doss? What's up, Rod? Crypto Cole, Steve, Trader Adam, Mr. Steve, AJ, Arlene. Good morning, Arlene. Jay Cohen, Stir, Spaz. Welcome back. It's been a while, buddy. Derek Guy, Corey. What is going on? Kramer on CNBC saying the bottom isn't here yet. All right, let's go ahead and scoop up the bottom. Welcome to the bottom, guys. Ha! Yes, 100%. Kramer says the bottom's not in yet. The bottom's in, team. Get aggressive. No, I'm just joking. Don't get aggressive. Play it safe. Be smart. Definitely pick some quality names. Dollar cost average in. Build a nice long-term portfolio. Again, recession is still something that could happen. But again, today was the first sign of progress. Okay, so yesterday, what did we have in the market, right? We had CPI data, Consumer Price Index. All right, those numbers are higher than expectations. That's why we saw the markets roll on over. We were really looking at PPI data, Producer Price Index. All right, so a good example is this wallet, okay? This wallet last year cost me $2. Now it costs me $3. That's inflation. That's CPI, okay? But what does it cost? What's it cost to make this wallet? Last year, it would cost $1 to make the wallet. Now it costs $1.50. So that's inflation. It's costing more to make this wallet, which in turn, it cost me more to purchase this wallet. So that is going to be PPI, Producer Price Index. How much is it for this steel, right? How much is it for this elastic band, right? That is Producer Price Index. That is PPI. So what do we have today with PPI? We actually came in at expectations, right, for PPI, and then core PPI actually came in under expectations. So what's the difference between PPI and core PPI? Core PPI, it's PPI data. It just strips out food and energy. So core PPI for April, 0.4% versus the estimate of 0.6%. PPI came in at the estimate, 0.5%. Estimate was 0.5%. Prior month was 1.4%. So that's telling us that it's actually coming back down for producers to make this wallet, for example. So now, as a consumer, we should see that trickle down to us. So now moving forward, in a perfect world, in a perfect setting, if it's costing less for the producer to make this wallet, that's going to trickle down to us, and it's going to cost us less to purchase this wallet. So that is a good first sign that inflation could have peaked. It could be peaking. It could be coming back down. And that's a sign that maybe the Fed doesn't have to be as aggressive with the interest rate hikes and everything like that. So again, that's a good first sign, team. But really, we're going to see some great stuff next month when it comes back to CPI to see if that's really declining and to see if inflation is really peaking and actually coming back down. All right. So good data today. Jobless claims were not the best. 200 DK versus 195. Markets didn't really react too much, guys. Still chopping around. We will dive into the SPY and the Qs. We will talk about the SPY and the Qs team and see exactly what opportunity that we have for today. My focus, SPY and Qs, inverse ETFs. Why? Penny stocks have been really brutal lately, right? Penny stocks have been challenging. I've been trading penny stocks for about 7 years. The last couple of weeks have been the hardest market I think I've been in. A lot of rug pulls, nasty setups, weird price action. It's been more challenging than easy, right? Day trading is already challenging from a mental state. So again, when the stocks are choppy and the technicals are just brutally nasty, it makes it more challenging. Let's simplify the process. Where has the opportunity been? The opportunity's been with the SPY and the Qs, right? Monday, Q puts, nice winner. Tuesday, Q puts, nice winner. Yesterday, my first trade was a small loser. The second trade that I got rejected on with my broker issues was a very nice winner. So 3 days back to back to back, simply looking at the SPY and the Qs. So if you trade options, that's the place to be, the SPY and the Qs. If you trade equities and you don't trade options, where can you be? TQs, SQs, UVXY, an inverse ETF, right? $34, $18, $58, right? You can trade equities, you can trade shares on an inverse ETF, right? So if you think the Qs are going to rip, you can go long on TQs. If you think the Qs are going to dump, you can actually go long on SQs, the inverse ETF. So there's opportunity with the SPY and the Qs. There's definitely a way to trade this market, and it's simple. It's easy. There's consistency. And we've been locking in amazing profits for the past 3 days, keeping it that simple because penny stocks haven't really been consistent. So again, today, a lot of my focus is going to be the SPY and the Qs, just so you know where my focus is and why my focus is there. But let's go ahead and dive into the charts, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about these stocks, and let's go ahead and get you guys prepared for today. Let's talk penny stocks. What are we going to be looking at and why? Possibly CGEM. Possibly CGEM. And here's how I'm approaching penny stock land. There's about 6 different penny stocks that I'm watching for today. I only want to see 1 or 2 of those stocks consistent. I don't care if all 6 stocks are setting up. I want 1 stock to be consistent. 1 stock to be predictable to a certain extent. Something that's moving with volume, that has the focus of traders, and there's consistency and opportunity behind it. I just need 1 of these stocks to move. It may take 10, 15 minutes out of the gate to see exactly what that number 1 stock is. We'll go ahead and talk about these stocks and see why these are moving, why we're watching them, and then waiting to see where traders really go and what's the stock that they land on for today. So CGEM, what do we have going on here? They announced a strategic collaboration to jointly develop and commercialize CLN, whatever that is, Tahio's acquisition of CGEM. This stock right now from 731 trading at 943. CGEM is trading high relative volume. It's a lower float stock as well. 10% of the float is short. The float is 23 million. That means 2.3 million shares are short on this stock. Now, usually we see nice short squeezes at 20%, 30%. So 10%, nothing too crazy, but it's something to be mindful of, right? So we have the high relative volume, nice low flow stock. We have a good press release. But when you look at the technicals and you look at the chart, it's just not very appealing, is it? When you look at it and you're like, it's just not the best looking stock. But let's go ahead and mark up these levels and see where we could be headed today with CGM and see if there's any opportunity here. We have a lot of resistance right here at $9.67 and then $10. Okay, and there's going to be a decent amount of resistance on this stock off these daily lows. So like $10.34, resistance, that high, $11. Resistance, the 50 SMA, resistance. So you see how much overhead resistance we have on the stock? There's a decent amount. I want to find a stock that if it breaks the level of resistance, it has a big room. It has a lot of room to move into another level of resistance, not every 20 cents, 30 cents. But again, we need to get prepared here. There is going to be a lot of resistance overhead. So right now, $9.67. Then you have $10 psychological resistance, $10.34, $11, and then $11.56. Right now, if we look at this chart, bottom support, pre-market lows, right around $8.53 on CGEM. Again, our job is to identify why the stock's moving. We did. Our job is to identify, is there high relative volume? There is. Our job is to identify, can the stock rip and run? What's the float? It is a low float stock. It could rip and run. Now we do our due diligence. We start with the daily chart. We mark up these very simple key levels of support and resistance. And then what do? We sit back, be patient, and wait for a setup. And then we get involved with the trade. We can't really do anything right now. There's no reason to touch this stock. It needs to set up, give us a strategy, formation, something that says, buy me right here, low risk, high reward. And we know exactly where we'd be looking to lock in profits. We know exactly where support's at. Now we just need to sit back, be patient, and wait for an opportunity and wait for a setup to appear and wait for a setup to present itself. But CGEM is a stock that we will have on our watch list for today. Sit back. Let's see if traders move over to CGEM. Let's see if this is the top stock. This is where a lot of the focus is. And let's wait for that opportunity and see if there's anything that we could do to lock in some nice profits. All right, next we have SLRX. So SLRX today successfully completes pre-IND meeting with FDA. SLRX number 2 on the leaderboard, currently up 42% at this point in time, trading high relative volume, and it's a nice, I would say, medium float. It's not a large float like RIDE. It's right at 52.6 million in float. So it's a medium float. This stock could move today. Let's go ahead and do our due diligence like we do and go ahead and get prepared just in case this is a stock that starts moving. So I see resistance on the daily, 22.41. So right now, if we can hold above this 22-ish area, that could turn into some decent support to see some action to the upside here on SLRX. Now, again, next level that I see as resistance is going to be that gap down open right around the 20 EMA as well. That's right around 25 cents. Then possibly filling this gap up towards around pre-market highs, 27, 28 cents. If we ever break that level, you could see 30 cents next. Over 30 cents, another possible daily gap fill up towards around 33 cents. Right now, I see decent support from the daily chart, right around 18.5. So that's what I'm noticing right now, is we have potential to fade back down towards around 18 cents. Resistance right now is right around 22, 23. We could see it up to 25, 27, and then 28 cents, and then possibly up towards around this level of resistance at 30 cents. You ever see the stock over 30 cents, your next major target where you should be looking to lock in profits would be this upper daily gap towards around 33 cents on SLRX. But same thing, just like CGEM, right? The stock's moving. It's number 2 on the leaderboard, has great volume, nice low float stock. There is a catalyst, right? There's a reason for the stock to be moving. But when we look at the charts, right, we're technical analysts. We trade based on what the chart tells us. When we look at this chart, it's not telling us anything right now. There's not a lot of opportunity to be getting involved with SLRX at this point in time. So all we can do is mark up our levels, get prepared, sit back, be patient, and wait to see if there's an opportunity to jump into a trade. We will watch SLRX today to see if it gives us something to go off of on SLRX, right? Next, we have MITO. MITO is actually leading the board right now, has some of the best volume here in pre-market, some of the best and the highest relative volume. It's currently up 57.8%, and it's a nice low float stock, 22.5 million in float here on MITO. Now, what's going on here this morning with MITO? Why is this stock currently at 57% here in pre-market? MITO receives orphan drug designation from the FDA. So that's your keyword, receiving orphan drug designation from the FDA. That's not a hot press release. It's not a bad press release. It's lukewarm. It's right in the middle. It's 50-50. We have a catalyst with MITO. We have high relative volume. That tells us that there is traders. There are traders on this stock, and we can visually see that. Nice low float stock. It can move. Again, currently up 58% at this point in time. We do have some support on the daily chart off some of these prior levels around 28 cents. We can see that we came down here in pre-market to 27 cents. So I'm going to give yourself about a 1 cent window. Supports around 27 to 28 cents. We can see here that that 20 EMA is going to be a little level of resistance from the daily chart up towards around 35. And then the biggest level of resistance underneath these daily lows at 44 cents. So again, 27 to 28 cent resistance. Support, I do apologize, 27 to 28 cents is your current level of support on MITO. Resistance right around 35, up towards around pre-market highs of 38 cents. That's a target level. If we ever break those two levels of resistance, we do have potential up towards around 44 cents on MITO. Again, same thing. Look at the chart. There's no reason to buy. There's no reason to get involved. Now we sit back and wait for the setup, wait for the opportunity, build our plans, and then attack it. But right now, we're doing our preparation to get prepared just in case we do see that setup. We already have a leg up in the market. All right, guys, so that's MITO. We will be watching it. The stock that I'm currently long in, RIDE. Okay, I posted up RIDE this morning for you guys here inside of chat. So RIDE, nice big spike on up in post-market, downtrending here from post-market to pre-market, coming back down into yesterday's highs right around 173. So we see we came down right around this 173 level, got a nice little bounce. We broke this downtrend. That's where I'm going long. This is exactly what I posted up today for you guys. I'm long at the break of the downtrend. If we hold support right around 173, stop loss is right underneath that level of support, right around 170. I'm long right around 179 with a first profit target back up towards around those post-market highs, 2 to 204. So my cost basis right now is 179 at 2,500 shares, currently up almost 10 cents a share. And I'm looking to take some profits if we can get up towards around 2. And if we ever see this back up towards around 220, I will start closing a majority of my position. Right now, I would not want to see the stock dropping back below the VWAP. If we start dropping back below the VWAP, I may take half of my position off the table and ride the other half with my stop loss down towards around that 170. All right, team. So I'm currently long RIDE off my plan that I presented to you guys this morning here in pre-market. All right. So that's RIDE and why I'm currently long on this stock. Another thing that I saw too that really stood out to me is not only were we holding above yesterday's highs, we also took a dip in what we call the OTE zone. That is the level between the 78.6 fib and the 61.8 fib. I don't really use fibs a lot with penny stocks, right? But I did notice that correlated. There was a lot of correlation. I don't know if that's the right word, correlation. It's not the word I'm looking for. Again, you guys know me. I know the word I'm looking for, but I always use the wrong words in the wrong context. So trying to figure out what that word is. But anyway, who cares? So I noticed that 171, 173 resistance from yesterday, we're pulling back to, and that's also the same area of our OTE zone, the optimal trade entry zone between our 78.6 fib and our 61.8 fib. So I went ahead and got this trade off this double bottom, off those two levels, breaking this downtrend. I'm currently long in this trade up towards around 204, then up towards around 221, where I'm looking to lock in most of my profits on RIDE if we get up there. Current stops are back underneath this double bottom in the low 170s on RIDE, guys. Okay, so why is RIDE even moving? RIDE said on Wednesday that it had closed a $230 million deal to sell its Ohio factory to Taiwan's Hanhai Technology, OTC, HNHPF, better known as Foxconn, sending its shares higher after the bell. The stock closed at 151, hitting highs of $2.21, pulling back into a nice level of support. I took that trade off support, low risk, high reward. That's why I got long on RIDE. It had a press release on RIDE. There was a technical setup. There is a reason to buy this. There was a strategy, low risk, high reward. So I went ahead and took that trade here in pre-market, guys. I've been in this trade for about an hour and a half at this point in time. I was buying this right around 7:30, 7:45. All right. So RIDE is another stock to watch today. That level of support is back down in the low 170s. We do have a little bit of resistance off this high here at 189. I'm looking for a break over this 189 to get us up towards around $2. Now, I may take a little bit of profit here before the open, right at this level of resistance, 189. I'm up $10 or 10 cents a share at this point in time. So I have about $250 in profits so far this morning. And what I do see is this increased volume. That's why I'm still holding this, is on a 15-minute time frame. We still look good. We haven't seen a 15-minute candle make a new low yet. And we do have increased volume on our higher time frame. I'm looking to see if we can break above this 189 and get a nice rip up the 2. I will absolutely look to lock in about half of my profit towards around $2, holding the rest up towards around that post-market high on RIDE. Now, RIDE doesn't really have substantial volume right now. We're actually trading less than the average, and it's a larger float stock, but 20% of the float is currently short. And what did I just mention? Short squeezes typically occur around 20 to 30%. We have good news. We have yet to see the volume. It's a large float stock, but that is a good amount of shares short. 20% is 30 million shares. So there's 30 million shares, give or take, short right now on RIDE. Again, short squeezes typically occur between 20 and 30%. So that is another reason that I'm willing to hold this, thinking we can break back above 2 and start retesting some of post-market highs. And that's where I look to completely get out of this RIDE position. All right, guys? And then we have some back burners at this point in time. We will be watching BWV, prior day mover. If this stock breaks $7, I will take it long to 8, 8.75, and then 9.52. It's that simple. If it breaks and stays above 7, I am long to 8, 8.75, and then 9.52. I will not touch it until it's breaking and staying above $7. All right, team? So right now, it's a back burner play, BWV. Watch for the break and hold over 7. That's where I get interested, and that's where I look to start a position up to 8, 8.75, and 9.50. AFI, we're looking for a break over 68 and 70 cents. We have a daily gap that could be filled. Best case scenario, we hit that 20 EMA. Even better case scenario, we see it up towards around $1 psychological resistance. We ever see AFI breaking over $1, we have potential to fill this gap up towards around 130 and then 150. But first things first, the stock needs to break above 70 cents. All right, if we don't see the break over 70 cents and it holding above 70 cents, I will never touch this trade. And right now, I highly doubt it makes that move today. We actually gapped down from 49 cents. We're trading at 39 cents here in pre-market. So it is a back burner at this point in time. I don't have a lot of high hope for the stock, but if this is a stock that starts moving like it did yesterday, just randomly out of the gate, starts grinding on up, and it breaks over that 70 cent level, I will look to take this long to the 20 EMA at 91 cents and then up towards around $1. If the stock ever breaks $1, I will leave a runner on the table up towards around 129 and 150 here on AFI. But right now, it is a back burner trade. MDVL is a back burner as well. Possible 20 EMA, 200 SMA squeeze. All right, so as long as we're holding above that 20 EMA on MDVL, we continue to see the stock consolidate sideways on the daily chart in between these two moving averages. We could see a possible moving average squeeze formation. So over $2.50 is where I think about getting long up towards around $3. Why $3? Look at all these upper shadows at $3. Look at all this $3 resistance, $3 resistance, $3 resistance, $3 resistance. 5 days back to back. So if we start to see the squeeze formation develop and unfold and it starts breaking that 245 to 250, I will look to take this long up towards around $3. It could be a day trade that turns into a swing trade. I'd be looking at the stock on a higher time frame for this entry. So right now, MDVL, back burner, but again, for that possible moving average squeeze formation. Those are our penny stock watch lists for the day. Let's go ahead and dissect it one more time. CGEM, we will be watching this one. SLRX, we will be watching it. MITO. RIDE. Those are our top 4 stocks to be watching right out of the gate for today. Back burners, BWV, AFI, and MDVL. Now, again, I will be watching the SPY and the Qs primarily. So I marked up every single level of resistance that I see on the SPY. Nearest resistance is between 392 and 392.75. That's going to be yesterday's low of day and yesterday's close. If we open on up here, and we see it rejecting off of yesterday's lows and yesterday's close, I will look for puts back on down into these pre-market lows here on the SPY. If we ever crack below these pre-market lows on the SPY, our next targets and our next level of support is 385.83. But if we do indeed break yesterday's low and yesterday's close here on the SPY, your next level of resistance, 394.84. You break that level, you have room to 398. You break 398, the next key level of resistance is $400 on the SPY. If we ever see this up towards around $400 today, I will be looking to short it off $400, looking for that rejection at that key psychological level for a possible leg on down. Okay, team? So again, those are our levels of resistance. We know where our next level of support is. All we need to do is sit back and wait for the SPY to say, I'm rejecting off this level. I'm rolling over. Go ahead and take a put on me. Let's make some money. Right now, we're prepared. We have our levels marked up. Now we just sit back and wait for an opportunity to present itself at or near one of these levels of resistance. I want to play with the trend. I want to play with the downward momentum. I do not want to try and take calls on these bounces. I would rather look for a bounce and then short the bounce. Right? We're in a very strong downtrend. I don't want to play against the trend. So I'm looking for some bounces into resistance, and I want to short these bounces to continue to see if we roll on over and continue this nice little downtrend on the SPY. So you will not see me jumping into calls or jumping into a long position on the SPY. I will be looking to short these bounces at one of these levels of resistance. That's on the SPY, and that applies to the Qs as well. The Qs, we're looking at some of the similar levels, right? Yesterday's low and yesterday's close. That's at 290.95 was yesterday's low, and then 291.84 was yesterday's close. If we ever break over yesterday's close, your next level of resistance here on the Qs is 296.12, and then $300 is that psychological, very key level of resistance. Same thing applies with the Qs as it does with the SPY. I'm not looking to go long on the Qs. I'm looking to short these bounces and play this momentum and play this downward push, this downward momentum, this downtrend. So I'm not looking to take calls on the SPY and the Qs. I'm simply looking to see what takes place at or near one of these levels of resistance, looking to short these bounces for these next legs down. All right, team? However, if we do see the SPY and the Qs looking healthy today, and it's a green day, and we see some great momentum, some great action to the upside, I do have a few other individual stocks that I'm interested in possibly looking for some long opportunities. AMD. AMD could be a day trade opportunity that turns into a very nice swing trade. We've been talking about AMD for weeks now. We're sitting right at this 84.75 key level of support, and it looks like we're trying to put in some market structure right at 84.75. Could be a nice little double bottom reversal that gets this thing going back up to 98, 100, and then maybe back into this downtrend off the high. So we're on one big falling channel on AMD. We just tagged this bottom channel trend line support. We bounced ahead of earnings. We pulled back this week, forming some market structure, a possible double bottom. So what I'm expecting is to see this double bottom hold on up, form that market structure, and start to see a push back into this downtrend inside of this falling channel. That downtrend puts you around 110. So regardless of they even getting the 110, we have potential to 93. That's great profits. We have potential to 98. That's fantastic. We have potential to $100. Now, again, our top target would be 110, and that's impressive if we can catch a 20-point move on AMD. But first things first, we need to make sure we're going to hold above this 84.75, ensure that this market structure and this level of support is really setting in. I would be interested maybe around 91.44 to really start a position here up to 98.40, 100, and then $110. So a day trade opportunity that could turn into a nice swing trade back into the downtrend from this massive falling channel on AMD. Pfizer still on watch. You guys know my whole idea behind Pfizer, holding the uptrend, chopping around the 200 SMA. If we ever regain that 200 SMA and then break back above $50.80, I will be looking to take Pfizer for a swing trade long up towards around 54 and 55. It's still on watch. No reason to buy this right now at this point in time. I'm still watching it every single day. If it ever starts setting up and breaking that 50-80 level, I will definitely think about getting long on this for a swing trade to 54 and 55 on PFE. A little bit of a back burner at this point in time. I am watching Tesla like a hawk today. If the markets open and push, if the SPY opens and pushes, if the Qs open and push, where's Tesla at right now? Does anybody notice where Tesla is at this point in time? You remember that big gap down on the 24th of February? Massive gap down. And then we had that huge green day. We're going to be opening right at that massive gap down level. So if we open and we stay above that level and the markets bounce out of the gate, we have potential to see Tesla back up to yesterday's lows around 726. I will look to take Tesla long. Again, there's about 20 to 25 points of potential. I can get away with about 5 points of risk on this. That's a exceptional risk reward trade. And again, we're sitting at a very key level of support. However, if Tesla cracks that level and you see it bounce back up into that level and it's holding as resistance, I will look to short Tesla. But again, it really depends on what the overall market's doing. If the overall market is running up, Tesla should hold this 700 level and move on up. But if the markets are having a red day and we see Tesla below 700, retesting as resistance, and it looks like it's going to roll over, I will then look to short Tesla down into some of these lower daily levels of possible support. First target that I'm seeing on Tesla would be 686.14 here on Tesla. I will be watching Tesla today right around this key level of support, and that's that gap down from February 24th. Okay, so keep Tesla on high watch right around this level, guys. Really depends on what the overall market does. Now, if the overall market opens and bounces, obviously I'm looking for Tesla long. Now, if we end up hitting some of these levels of resistance and we see the market roll on over, that may put NVIDIA up into this 168.24 resistance. If we see NVIDIA up at this 168.24 resistance and we see the overall market selling off and looking weak, I will be looking for a short on NVIDIA off of this 168.24 level of resistance. We will be watching NVIDIA today. So NVIDIA, Tesla, AMD. 3 individual stocks that I'm watching, but most importantly, the SPY and the Qs. We have 1 second until the market opens. We are prepared. We know exactly what to expect. We are all set, ready to rock and roll. Let's have an awesome day, team. Let's make it happen. Let's lock in some fantastic profits And let's do what we do best. Keep it simple, team, and let's make it happen. Here we go. Fidelity with freaking issues again. Gotta love it. Woo! Gotta love it. All right. So out of the gate, guys, just look at some of these pennies. See if we have anything setting up right out of the gate. Let's go ahead and get these into 1 minute time frames, team. Watching CGEM off 850 support. MITO 27-cent support. Again, it'd be nice to see CGEM just dump on off towards around this 850, hold it as support, maybe follow through, maybe set up for a possible red to green move. Do you have issues if you try and log into the website and trade there? I have never done that, but right now I can't even do a market order. So I actually sat here to try and flip over to a market order if I wanted to get out of my position on RIDE. And it's saying that there's not even a market order available. I can't market order out, and that's wild. That's random. That makes no sense. And that happens quite a bit. I mean, that happens quite a bit to where it just doesn't give me my order types. It spazzes out too much. BWV, as we were talking about this in pre-market, it actually got a little bit of action right before the open. So definitely watching BWV. That was one of our back burner trades for today. Again, let's see if CGEM can come down towards around this 850, hold as support, maybe find a bottom, maybe start U-shaping, and maybe turn into a slight red to green move here on CGEM. So again, if we see CGEM continue the pullback on light volume into this 853, 850 level, and we form that support level and we start to see that U-shape in that transition for a possible red to green move, that's definitely something that we need to keep on watch for a possible red to green move on CGEM. We would have some potential back up towards around 946. I would say like right around this 946 level would be a good level of resistance to lock in some profits if we start to see this possible red to green move here on CGEM. I guess the same thing applies with RIDE. We have that 170, 171 level of support. That's also our OTE zone and our pre-market lows. We continue to see this fall and fade on decreased volume into this level of support, and we start to see that U-shape and we start to see that transition. I would look to add to my position for a possible red to green move to get this thing going back to 190 and then $2. So just curious to see what happens here with RIDE over the next few moments. But right now, BWV is on high watch. High watch BWV for that break over 7. This thing could rip on up to 8, 875, and 950. One of my most favorite back burner plays for the day. Right now, high watch BWV at this point in time. BWV. Breaking over 7, this thing could really take on off. Breaking and holding over 7, we have a lot of potential to 8, 875, and 950 here. BWV right now, high watch at this point in time, team. There's $7. There's 708, 709. Again, we talk about breaks and holds, breaks and holds. Stock has to break and hold. Okay, we're not in a hot market where you guys should be trading a breakout. Wait for the break. Wait to actually see it retest Wait for that hold on over and then look to go long, guys. Then look to go long. Give me 1 second. Thanks, guys. So right now, BWV is the #1 penny stock to be watching at this point in time. Breaking and holding over 7, we have a lot of great potential. Breaking and holding over 7, we have a lot of great potential here, guys. I like BWV. I think BWV has a lot of great potential for today, especially if we can break and hold that $7 level. I mean, $7 to $8, that's a substantial move. And then over 8 to 8.75. I mean, there's a lot of great potential today with BWV here. So I just want to keep it on watch to see what we do up towards around the $7 area. So this is a high watch trade, guys. This needs to be on high watch. TD, gosh, man. More issues with TD. More issues with TD. What happened? And TD just pulled me from my trade when I put my stop losses in. Jesus, man. I tell you what. These mainstream brokers, guys. Whew. These mainstream brokers are brutal lately. All right, so BWV is still the #1 stock to be watching at this point in time. CGEM trying to work on that possible red to green move here, but again, support's back down at 850. SLRX not doing anything at this point in time. MITO, this thing's breaking and staying above, I would say like 34, 35 cents. That's a good first sign that you could run this up towards around 44 and 45 cents there on MITO. I took half of my position off the table like I told you guys in pre-market. I should have just got out. But I was too busy getting y'all prepared. So right now, that trade is I mean, I was up. I should have taken profits there when I had it at 190. It was a good little opportunity. It was a good little setup, but so how's BWV? We got to get BWV up over 7 here. How's AFI looking? This thing has got a long way to go. MDVL could be setting up, coming on up very soon. SKYH is trying to move a little bit, but again, I'm not too crazy about it. SPY opening on up and just saying, nope, not today, we're dumping. Qs opening on up, saying, nope, not today, we're just dumping. NVIDIA pulling back. Tesla cracking that 700 level right into the 686 area. But again, we definitely want to be watching not CGEM. BWV for sure. BWV is the #1 stock to be focused on right now at this point in time. 110%. This is the #1 stock with the best of the best opportunity right now at this point in time, team. So do not take your eyes off BWV. If this one's breaking and staying above 7, I will be looking to go long on this up to 8, 875, and then 950. I tell you what, we definitely do, don't we? Absolutely do. 100%. Because it's getting a little ridiculous. A lot of volatility in the market, and that's what happens with these mainstream brokers. When you have a lot of volatility in the market, they are super laggy. Your fills stink. Jeez, it's insane, isn't it? I market ordered and didn't get filled, so you canceled it and then you got filled. That's happened to me a lot of times on TD Ameritrade. 100%. We were talking about this yesterday. If you can trade in this really crappy market, right, this mess, and you can learn how to trade consistently in this brutal market, imagine when the market returns to normal. You are going to absolutely crush it. Yeah, if you can learn, it's going to be a cakewalk. If you can trade profitably in this market like you guys are, imagine when the market returns to the normal. It's going to be a cakewalk. You're just going to be banging out profits left and right, and you're going to be like, man, my job is easy, right? A lot of traders, they came in, and they only learned the markets go up. The markets go up. Just buy calls, go long, right? Everything's going up. Now, a lot of people are losing money, but we know exactly how to trade and navigate this market. And if we can learn, right, if you guys can learn how to properly and consistently trade in this market, which you are, imagine the market getting back to normal. You are going to absolutely dominate it. So again, keep up the good work, team. Dude, Fidelity is so weird. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. It's so weird on how the system operates. I don't understand what's going on right now. The system is so stupid. I think it'll return to normal. Is this the new normal? This is the new normal for now. 100%. This is the new normal for now, but will the market return to normal? It will, and it always does. Look at the history of the stock market. We've seen big crashes, bear markets, recessions, depressions. It's the normal for a short period of time, but it always returns to normal, right? The stock market has historically always gone up. Even in bear markets, COVID crashes, recessions, internet bubbles, freaking Great Depressions, the market's always bounced back and returned to normal. So absolutely. This is the new normal for now. 100%. This is the new normal for now. Geez, guys, look at you. Look at you. Corey starting off his day with $100. George starting off his day with over $500. Crypto Cole with $51. Trading Hunter locking in a quick $20. Way to start your day off green, guys. Way to start your day off green. So right now we are 944. 944 in the market. And looking at the SPY and the Qs here, if you grab something out of the gate, congrats. I want to see what we do up towards around some of these levels of resistance. MITO with a nice little rug pull there. 34 back down to 30. RIDE can come off the watch list. BWV is still the #1 stock right now, guys. It's got to break and hold 7. It's got to break and hold 7. I'm interested. I think there's some great opportunity here with BWV coming on up. Nice little uptrend, too. If you ever crack the trend line, get out. Okay, BWV, if you ever crack this trend line, get out. So if you're looking for a break over 7 prematurely, again, I don't suggest it in this market. I do not suggest anticipating breakouts, but I'm just pointing things out because you guys are your own traders, and I want to point out what I see. If you guys are in it, if you guys are looking to anticipate it, whatever you guys are looking to do, again, I don't suggest that. Your stops need to be underneath this trend line, the 90 EMA, and the VWAP. You're stopped out at 665. 665 is your stop out because that's below the trend line. It's below the VWAP. It's below the 90 EMA. This is going to be an ascending triangle breakout, building higher lows with flat resistance. You do not want to see it crack the trend line. You do not want to see it drop below that 9 or the VWAP ideally. Now, if you can let it breathe, you can let it breathe to 650, but that's a pretty big stop loss. A good stop would be up here at right around 670 under both of those 3 levels. I gotta shut down Fidelity real quick and load it back up. Give me 1 sec. You know what, guys? I'm not even gonna mess with Fidelity. It's 4 days back to back. Curious to see if it actually works now. Yeah, there's a lot of those big upper shadows. So again, it's got to break and hold 7. It has to break. And it has to hold 7. Again, that's why I was clarifying. I do not recommend anticipating breakouts in this market. Let the breakout occur and watch the breakout. Make sure it's a healthy breakout. So again, look across the board at these penny stocks. Do you really see anything that's like, oh my gosh, I want to buy this? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Brutal. I mean, just choppy out of the gate. I mean, you're already 20 minutes in, and there's just not a lot of consistency. The only thing that I'm seeing right now in a higher time frame setup that looks, I guess, appealing, it looks decent, would be MDVL for that moving average squeeze formation. So we are going to keep that one on high watch. Other than that, some chop there on BWV, some chop and a rug pull on MITO, SLRX. We can take that off the watch list. It's not doing anything. And we'll still, I guess, watch CGEM at this point in time. BYND was halted. BYND was halted. BYND is halted up right now at this point in time, guys. What's up with BYND? That's weird. BYND, we got a couple adjustments. Target to 21 from 35. Target to 14 from 40. Posting worse than expected earnings. Stock slides 20% on weak sales. Dead cat bounce. Yeah, maybe a dead cat bounce on BYND, and it's just starting to kind of pop up here a little bit. Then AMD, guys, if the markets are going to continue to move higher, right? If you see some strength in the Qs and the SPY, and you see a nice little uptrend, you see the strength, and you see that the markets are going to continue to build on up here and possibly rebound a little bit, you need to watch AMD here off this 84.75. Look what we just did. We cracked below 84.75. We just popped back above, and we're pulling back for a retest of 84.75. We continue to see the Qs move higher through these levels of resistance. The SPY move higher through these levels of resistance. And we see AMD hold this 84.75. This could be a good area to maybe start a position for that day trade that may turn into a nice little swing trade, assuming we get a nice little relief rally out of the market, being that PPI data wasn't all that bad. So it's definitely worth watching right around this 84.75, around 84.75, and we'll see what takes place. But again, we need to look at the overall market, the SPY and the Qs. We need to see consistency there. We need to see a solid uptrend. That's the only way we look to play AMD, right? AMD may look good long, but if the markets start dumping, what's AMD going to do? It's going to start dumping. I mean, look at AMD and look at the Qs, right? There's AMD, there's the Qs. You see the similarity? This is what I mean. Right? If you see a good long setup on AMD, but the Qs dump, what's going to happen with AMD? It's going to dump. Look at the correlation. Look at the movement between the two. This is why I'm not all crazy about trading these individual stocks, because you got to be watching the SPY and the Qs anyway. BMBL is hitting our breakout scanner on BMBL. BMBL. Right now, team, we could see BMBL at 22.56. I would say your support level off that low, 21.60. So you had this low right around 21.60. Back in early March, we are breaking above that low here. That could turn into intraday support. And BMBL does have room up into this level of support here. I would say right around like 2278-ish would be a decent level on BMBL if you guys are watching watching that. So right now, it's, you know, it's not a slow start. It's not a slow start. We definitely have some action and some movement with the SPY and the Qs, but it absolutely is a slow start with penny stocks. CGEM, nothing. MITO, maybe one symmetrical triangle squeeze formation. So if we continue to hold these higher lows and these lower highs and get tight inside of this triangle, we could see a squeeze here. Back over 35 to high a day of 37 and then 44 to 45 cents. So it's worth watching MITO. And I still think it's worth watching BWV as well. I still think we should watch BWV here to see if we ever break out of this consolidation over 7. And if we hold 7, we have a lot of great potential to $8. So my top 2 pennies that I'm really watching right now, BWV, this is my number 1. This one has the most amount of attention towards it. This is probably one of the better looking setups with the best amount of reward. And then maybe MITO, but I'm like a little 50-50 with it. So I'm like maybe MITO. Let's look at some of the, I'm watching the Qs here though. The Qs off this lower high, maybe below the VWAP, but I want to see a better, bigger picture setup, just something very clear, and not feel like I'm just chasing these small moves. I'm looking for like one of these bigger A+ setups versus jumping in on these little, just micro moves and then getting chopped out. SQSP, number 2 on the leaderboard. So SQSP, 1957 resistance. Actually, 1854 resistance. If we break and stay above 1854, you have some potential to 1957 moving on earnings. All right, so right now our focus is BWV here, team. We are consolidating higher lows, lower highs, getting tight inside of this consolidation as volume is decreasing. I'd like to see if we can start a break out of this consolidation to the upside. If we can, maybe we get a break and hold over 7. If we see that, I'm definitely looking to jump in long here on BWV. Break and hold over 7, room to 8s. But we have to hold this consolidation. We have to hold these higher lows and then get a break out of the consolidation first. That's a first good sign that traders are here, willing to get this break out of consolidation. Then a break and hold over 7 looks pretty good. Now, if we crack to the downside on BWV, we have room to fall back down towards around 634. Again, I will not touch the stock until it's over and staying above $7. I will not touch BWV. I think it's a little too early. You need to be very patient with these penny stocks and wait for the absolute best opportunities versus trying to jump in here now, watching it dump down to 635 and like, man, why did I just do that? Why did I jump into this trade? Why did I just take an unnecessary loss? Do not put yourself in that position. Just be patient and wait for the first break. If we even get it, that will make you a little bit more confident. And then with breaks and hold 7, you have a little bit more confidence there. If it can break out of this consolidation and rip over 7 and hold 7, you're starting to see some consistency here. But we're not touching it until it's over $7. So again, team, BWV is on high watch. This is our number 1 penny stock to watch right now at this point in time. So breaking out a consolidation with high volume to the upside, that is a good sign. That's good sign number 1. Then if we break over $7, that's another good sign on high volume. Then if we pull back or consolidate and hold 7, that boosts my confidence on this trade. That's going to show me that traders are here willing to get this thing going out of consolidation. Then traders are willing to buy over 7 to get that breakout. Want to see good volume. And if we pull back and hold 7, that tells me that we can still see the stock move higher. So that builds my confidence behind this trade on BWV if we see those things develop and unfold. So I am watching BWV as the number 1 penny stock at this point in time. Still watching the Qs, and I'm still watching the SPY for a great opportunity for a possible upcoming trade. You know I keep saying $7, $7, $7, $7. I'm actually going to bring my level up to $7.12. I want to play it even more safely. So I see the upper shadow. 712, upper shadow, 712, today's high, 711. So I'm actually going to be playing that 712 level, not 7, but 712 here on BWV. So here's my next game plan, right? A possible game plan on the Qs. Okay, the Qs, selling on off, big U shape, back up to high a day. Right now, we're consolidating in this intraday. You can call that a flag if you want. You can call this a short-term falling channel. Whatever the case, it is a potential bullish breakout formation. If you run a Fibonacci off this level, we want to see if we're holding and respecting some of these fib levels. And we have. We came down to the 50, we bounced. Down to the 61.8, we bounced. Where did we just dip into? We dipped into this OTE zone, the optimal trade entry zone on this short-term fib level. So if we see a break out of this flag formation or this very short-term falling channel, and we see a break back above the 9 EMA, back above that VWAP, outside of this downward consolidation, we break this downtrend, I would expect to see the Qs back up towards around yesterday's lows and close. That could be a great long opportunity back up to 290 and 291.84. And we could absolutely look to short SQQQ or look to go long on TQQQ with shares if you guys do not like options. So the OTE zone, right, really applies. I put a lot of emphasis on higher time frames, hourly, 4-hourly, daily, weekly, monthly. Not so much intraday, but I do take it into consideration. The OTE zone is the optimal trade entry zone where institutions like to accumulate. That's where they like to put what they call stink bids, really low bids in that OTE zone, and that's why you see it come right in the middle and pop up and leave those lower shadows at times, because that's where these institutions are putting what they call stink bids. It's an optimal trade entry zone, and it's a zone where institutions like to accumulate. Again, I'm really looking at that on a higher time frame, not so much lower time frames, but it's still something I want to be mindful of. It's still something I want to be mindful of. If we go ahead and take that fib again off low to high, and we look at our OTE zone, which is right in the middle of the 78.6 fib and the 61.8 fib, right in the middle, what do you see here? You see a little accumulation. You see some lower shadow pop, lower shadow pop, lower shadow pop. Why? Pretty random price, pretty random area. Well, it's actually where institutions like to get involved. That's where they like to accumulate and put what they call stink bids. So why did we come down and wick? Well, it's right there in the middle, right there in that OTE zone. But I want to just clarify that we're really looking at those OTE zone accumulation areas on those higher time frames ideally, but it's still worth noting here on the Qs intraday. All right, here's BWV. Here's the first attempt to get a nice little bullish break. And if we follow through and break and hold over 711, 712, I will absolutely be looking to take this long to 8. This is the only penny stock right now that really stands out to me. The other one on a higher time frame, MDVL, for this possible daily moving average squeeze formation over 250, back up to 3. That's definitely still on high watch for me. But right now, I'm just watching intraday BWV at this point in time to see if it can set up for us. We got MDVL currently on the back burner for that higher time frame setup. CGEM is weak and sideways. MITO, same thing. Again, across the board, penny stocks just struggling a little bit at this point in time. Jesus. I would expect to see a market bounce today. Look at the P call, guys. Look at the P call. I mean, it just tapped 115. Jesus. Look at that, guys. Just tap that 115 area. When we see anything extended over 1, we typically see a market bounce. It's just showing us that there's way too many calls than puts in the market. Market's just a little too bearish right now. And we typically get those market bounces when we're really high and well over that 1 area. So definitely something to notice. Definitely something to pay attention to. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a nice little market bounce today. This thing is getting really, really, really tight here. So one of two things, guys. One of two things. Either A, right? You got one of two things. Option number 1, which I don't think is going to happen. But we got this consolidation. Breaks out of consolidation. Over 712. Pulls back, holds above. We make our entries for the leg up to 8. But with this market, what do I expect to see happen? Consolidation, bop, 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 bop. A crack, a drop, a possible base, and then maybe a rally, right? A market maker move here, right? Nice consolidation. You have accumulation from retail traders. Retail traders are accumulating in here. They're buying. They're looking for that potential break. We haven't really seen a lot of breaks lately. We get a lot of these rug pulls, these dumps. We find support, we base, and then we start to rally. So I would think maybe something like that is more likely. Starting to see that little bit of a dump here on BWV.